Indian government is now pushing for wider access for income tax officials to crack down on income tax evasion. So the income tax bill of 2025, the new bill that the government is proposing in the parliament, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was seen defending the bill, revealing how encrypted WhatsApp messages has helped the government uncover nearly 200 crores in crypto-linked tax evasion. In total, digital evidence has led to detection of nearly 250 crores unaccounted for cash. Now, this is what Nirmala Sitharaman said in defense, basically pushing for more access that's needed for the income tax officers now to get into our digital devices so they crack down on any tax evasion.
Unaccounted money to the extent of 250 crores have been detected when the encryption has been decoded. One. Second, evidences which have been seized from WhatsApp messages, particularly crypto assets worth more than 90 crores, and the network of people involved in it have all come out of WhatsApp messages. WhatsApp communications and incriminating materials found from such conversations helped to unearth the syndicate and identify the end beneficiaries of bogus bills worth 200 crores.
All right, now officials have also used Google Map data to trace locations where cash was being hidden and tracked Instagram accounts to identify Benami properties. The bill proposes to allow tax officials access to virtual digital spaces, including emails, WhatsApp, Telegram, business software, as well as cloud storage and servers, especially during search and seizure operations. Now, they would be legally empowered to override passwords and access digital devices for any evidence. The bill has raised serious concerns about privacy here. Critics argue that such wide access to personal digital records by the government could really lead to government overreach and potential misuse without proper safeguards. I have with me joining us to give us a little more clarity on what this bill proposes, Rakesh Maheshwari, former head of cyber law and e-security. In fact, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology that he was part of, and also Jitin Jain, cybersecurity expert and director Digital Lab Voyager Infosec. Thanks very much. My first question to you, sir, Rakesh Maheshwari, if you could give us your take on what the government proposes. We know that this is good intention, at least seemingly the government says they want to crack down on tax evasion, which is why they want access. But of course, there would be critiques, and I too myself would be worried on how far the government has access to my digital records and if there could be potential misuse.
So, good evening. Let's first understand the context that there is, as of today, the provision which is of search and seizure and which is primarily restricted to the physical world. And when things are moving to the virtual digital space, and my presence is more and more in that space, it's essential either for the person who is involved to be able to provide all the transparency and the kind of support that the government officials, the income tax officials may require, or the government official in some such scenario where the cooperation is not forthcoming, where the access codes are not available, to be able to get to know all the possible details through various other digital means. And wherever such, I'll say, money, virtual money, digital records are available. So that's the context in which we are talking today. And when we are talking in this context, it is equally important to know that privacy has been declared as a fundamental right in this country, subject to certain three-layered approach, which the Honorable Supreme Court in 2017 laid down: the legality, the need, and the proportionality. In effect, the judgment talked about maintaining a balance between the protection of the individual right with the state's responsibility to ensure public welfare and society.
Yeah.
So as long as maybe these two things are balanced, which is what is very much essential in this law. The things, in my own opinion, are valid.
Yeah. Jatin, if you can chime in on granting this kind of access to officials, especially to encrypted WhatsApp chats, who one assumes is completely secure, and your cloud data, and this without any prior judicial oversight. Does this set dangerous precedent for personal privacy in India?
Now, see, look, for any sort of data-related investigations, we can essentially divide everything into three categories. One is open source data, like you've been talking about this Instagram feeds to figure out Benami properties. People who buy the lands and villas on name of their drivers end up staying there for 3 4 months, happily post photos on Instagram, living a luxurious sunset life over there. So, and those Instagram photos are then used by the department to unearth those, Benami properties and then use them as circumstantial evidence. Now, this is open source data where everything what you are posting on social media is seen by others, including the government, and they are making a use case of it to, figure out the instances of tax evasion. Now, there is a second category where there is a data available to the forensic investigation. For example, suppose an investigation you have seized the mobile phone in a legal manner. You send the mobile phone to a forensic lab, and then they take out data, including from your cloud accounts and your devices, and then that data is analyzed to figure out again crypto transactions, Benami properties, and all sort of things. Now there's a third category, which is a gray area. That suppose if you are stopped somewhere and you are asked to give your mobile phone and give your password, what happens in those cases?
Yeah.
Do you have a right not to incriminate yourself and give your password, or can you be forced to give your password? Third, if you don't give your password, can the government use some password cracking tool to get access? I think these are debatable issues. It happened in the case of Karthi Chidambaram when he was detained by, I think, Enforcement Directorate on the Chennai airport. He refused to give his iPhone password, and later on he was let go. But then there are many cases of ordinary people who are then forced to give passwords. So this is a gray area whether you can be forced to incriminate yourself. But so far as government using any password cracking tool to get access to your devices is concerned, this is going to be a new norm, and this is going to happen. This is a part of regular search and seizure operations where, like, you search houses by breaking walls, you will get into devices by breaking the passwords. But the challenging the part lies in surveillance. Nowhere in the bill it says that government will be using some sort of interception to crack your encrypted communications on WhatsApp. I don't think the bill means that. I think the bill is talking more about the forensic investigation where devices are seized in a lawful manner. So this is a debate happening in society because everybody
It
is now
is with
believing that,
regards to tax evasion, so it's particularly in that area as well. And if they detect something while they're carrying out seizures and cracking down on the case, the bill basically allows
they
them
will.
unfettered powers. But a quick word from you,
But those
Rakesh.
powers were available
The,
even earlier. That's
the
the whole debate. Those
safeguards,
powers were even
but this is
were
a
available
new
too.
bill being proposed with amendments. So the safeguards that the government can build into this bill to prevent any potential misuse.
Yeah. So here also, which I did mention, that there have to be safeguards of purpose limitation, that the data is accessed only for the purposes. Safeguard of storing only what is really required to be stored, because once you are getting into or trying to get into the virtual space, it's not just about the person, it's also about everybody who is connected with the person. So definitely there can be privacy, I'll say, implications. And for that reason, one, the purpose limitation. The other, the data is only that data is collected which you believe is essential and is retained only for such time for which it is required to be retained. And those things need to be brought into the law. The reasonable security safeguards as the data goes to income tax authorities. So that is an equally essential part. And by the way, all the three things which I mentioned are also part of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act and the draft rules which have just been published by the government. So I believe such safeguards either through the DPDP Act and preferably through this income tax bill itself should be brought in.
Okay. Jatin, a final word, quick 3 points for the common man to take note of. Should we not be worried at all? And what could we do in case of an episode or an encounter?
No, I could not agree. I fully agree with Rakesh Maheshwari. Sir, he has very beautifully put out the safeguards in a very, elaborate manner. So I think but the debate is, are those safeguards there in the bill? No, but you see any other digital bill in India, there are no safeguards. So in a country like India, where there is an allegations by every party in power and opposition about the misuse of agency, and in an era where we lack any judicial or parliamentary oversight our intelligence agencies, this is not the case of this income tax bill. There's a larger debate whether our agency should be under parliamentary judicial oversight. So that is a larger issue, and I fully agree. Apart from purpose limitation, you see, we have seen two great cases in the last 2 years. Sushant Rajput case, you start a murder investigation and then you open up a Pandora box of drug-related issues because Riha Chakrabarti had some messages with her brother about some other things, illegal substances, and you open a new Pandora box altogether. What happens to the purpose limitation in those cases? Arnab Goswami's case, you start this advertising related investigation and then you figure out those messages about he talking something about Mr. Jaitley, and then you use it in all media for political purposes.
Right.
What happens to that? So I think there has to be accountability on part of agencies also, that once the purpose of a particular investigation is served,
Yeah.
any other data leakage then has to be held accountable on the agency.
Very well said, both of you. Thank you. Really appreciate your time joining us and letting us know what are the potential dangers. Thanks very much.